Hello and welcome to Heavy Metal Rex. My name is Oasis, and today I want to talk about the WRX, as I always like to do, but very specifically the video that I made just a few days ago about how the Elantra N is whatever it is compared to the WRX. Now, I've been reading all of the comments, and you guys are, as usual, incredibly opinionated, but I want to get something out there right away. I'm not hating on the WRX. I don't hate on the WRX. Actually, I don't hate on any car. I'm a car enthusiast first. I love the WRX and I love what it does, but I can also appreciate other cars in the market. And it would be crazy for me to not look at what I think is a competitor for it out there. Some of you have said that maybe the Elantra N isn't even a direct competitor with the WRX, but it compares to higher cars such as GR Corolla and Type R. If anything, that makes the argument even worse for the WRX. But all of that aside, there's another thing that kept coming up, and this still comes up a lot when I post drag racing videos or track videos and stuff like that. People always say, oh wait, you don't understand. The WRX is a rally car. You don't drag race it, you don't take it on the track, you don't do all this other stuff. Well, I find that to be a really weird thing. I understand that Subaru's pedigree and the WRX's history was in rally. I'm with you on that. But it's been a while since Subaru has really competed in WRC on the world stage of rally. Now, of course, there is a EJ-powered WRX that is in the ARA, the American Rally Association, which Brandon Semenick and Travis Pastrana were driving. But now, even more so, there is a FA24-powered WRX that is also in the ARA. Now, neither of these cars are actually just straight-up WRXs. Now, the FA24-powered WRX is far more real-life WRX than the EJ variant, obviously, but still a very different car. If anything, the only thing it really shares is the shape, maybe, actually, I think just the shape and the engine. I don't even believe the transmission is the same. And I know the suspension and tires aren't, obviously. These are things that you need for racing. Now, the whole thing when people say it's a rally car, okay, sure, it has rally blood and rally history, but this particular car, this exact one, isn't really a rally car. All performance vehicles can and should be put through all of these performance tests. In this particular case, in my last video, I was talking about the lightning lap that Car and Driver did at a VIR, and that's where all performance cars should go regardless of what they are. Front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, one wheel, two wheels, it doesn't matter. That argument keeps coming up because is it that when some other car shows up and it outstages the WRX, do you feel like you need to say that? And that's a question I'm asking. It's human to do it. I do it when these things kind of come up, and I know that we have a very passionate fan base. But let's look at a couple of things here. I want to talk about this, not this channel, but just like this company, Team O'Neill Rally School. They're actually a rally school up in, I think, in New Hampshire. They've been doing all kinds of really cool stuff with the WRX for a while now, and I've watched most of these videos. Like they have this series called Will It Rally, and they actually take a car, 100% bone stock, and they throw it on their track, kind of drag it around and see what it does. And the WRX actually did really amazing. I think they had a couple of other cars since then, and some have been higher, some have been lower. It's still a great car. Will it perform well on the dirt? Yeah, even with those stock Dunlops, apparently it does an okay job. Now they've had a couple of other videos here, like showing people how to drift, showing people how to do some gymkhana stuff. They did some J turns. They try to do recently. They try to do reverse entry, which is actually a really good video. I hadn't seen that one. That was super fun. They're doing all kinds of stuff, making more power. They got I think a flex fuel kit on there, which is pretty cool. Now since then they have switched over to Öhlins and Michelin Sport 4. I think Michelin Pilot 4S, I believe. So they're not even on the stock tires anymore. So it's pretty cool to see. But there's actually another channel that I'm a huge fan of called Engineering Explained, and he actually went out to Dirtfish and looked at what a stock STI was, because at the time he actually had, I believe, a VA STI, and compared it to what a rally STI actually would have. And there's a lot of things that make a car a rally car. Now, when I was doing rallycross with my WRX, my VB, there were some things that were changed. Obviously, the suspension, the car was heightened, gave it a little bit. I lifted the car 1.5 inches to give it more room, man, what is the word? more, why can I not think of it? Anyway, the distance from the ground, I'm such an idiot. I don't know why I can't think of what that term is. Anyway, I lifted the car. I had, actually that was the only real thing I did mechanically to the car was I just lifted it and then just put dirt tires on there. Now that is like the biggest thing that most of these cars have done to them. Now there's not a whole lot of aero advantage in a rally car, so it doesn't really matter what spoilers and all that stuff you put on because you're not going that fast. It's more about, now people will argue because like the ARA cars do have very special aero on them, but really if you're just going out to rallycross, you need suspension and tires. And some may even argue you probably don't even really need suspension if the track is fairly flat. Now our track here is not very flat. It has some elevation up and down, so having that extra travel does help. Now in this particular video, we're not gonna go through all of it. There's a lot of other things that have been done. Obviously, you gotta use smaller brakes, use smaller wheels, 15-inch, because you need a bigger sidewall so you can have some nice meaty tires on your car. There's a lot more that's done on a rally car, obviously some protection underneath, but none of these things really are super crazy. And the reason I'm saying this is I want to try to do the for and against for you guys saying like it's around the car. Yeah, could you take a stock WRX out onto the dirt and have a lot of fun? Sure, you can. Will it slide more than normal if you didn't have like dirt track or dirt wheels and tires? Yeah, and that's kind of the thing I worry about because I actually did get lost on my way back from the 100 Acre Woods, not last year, I think the year before. Was it the year before? Yeah, it was last year. And I got pretty squirrely with my summer tires on because obviously summer tires don't have the same grip. They're just flat. They can't really hold on to anything. Now, if it's like fairly solid ground, sure, maybe it's a little bit better. But if you're driving over gravel or stuff like that, you're gonna be just sliding all over the place. And now something that Team O'Neill did say having open differential front and rear was actually a benefit in this particular case because you did have not so great tires, and I guess that's fine. I'm not a professional here. Some of you guys out there who do rallycross can probably comment a little bit more on that, but I do think that when you do have actual dirt tires on the car or all-terrain tires or rally tires or whatever you have, having obviously the center diff, the trick center diff that the STI has to kind of move power back and forth can be cool, but it does become a little less predictable for some of us who are just used to open diff, like myself. I never claim to be amazing at this stuff, but there are a lot of reasons why. So like here, I'm actually gonna go ahead and push this up a little bit so he's got more of those words found. So other than like the feel of the car is gonna change because obviously track tire or track suspension and suspension that's gonna be stock even is a little stiffer with different damper rates. You have more clearance, ground clearance. That was the word I was looking for. You know, you got more ground clearance, more travel. It is a little bit more comfortable because it is slightly bouncier. That's something that I noticed when I had the lift kit and the thicker tires, or you know, I think I was running 225/55, which probably a little too wide, even for a rally tire. I thought at least. You will feel less stiffness, and it makes for a far more comfortable ride, even just on the pavement. So just the suspension and tires is like a big deal to change if you want to really make this a rally car. And sure, yeah, once you do that, can you rally? Yes, you can. But I do want to have a counterpoint to that is that there were a lot of rear wheel and front wheel drive rally cars in the World Rally Championship. So just coming in and saying, well, it's not a rally car, and in this case I'm talking about the Elantra N. Well, the WRX is a rally car and the Elantra N is just like, it's just a boring front wheel drive car. Well, I mean, how is that even really relevant? You know, clearly it is a performance-oriented vehicle. You like to say, well, it's just a Hyundai. Okay, let's put that aside. That subjective stuff, we just put it aside. We only talk about the mechanical stuff. The nice thing is it does have a nice trick LSD up front, which from what I've heard from a lot of people that own these cars, when they go around a corner, it feels amazing. Now, the only problem that we have with the open diff is as we are going around a corner, the outside wheel is kind of just doing its own thing, just hanging out, while the inside wheel is doing its own thing, hanging out. You know, there's really not a lot of work happening here. And you can use like the torque vectoring system that Subaru has, but it's brake biased base, and like, is it a real thing? No, it's not. And usually when I'm on the track, I don't even have that the VSC, I believe I don't remember exactly what it's called. Yeah, I think vehicle stability control or whatever. I have all of that turned off, and I've never found it to have actually helped me on the track versus just having it completely off and just driving the car by myself. So there are some disadvantages and advantages to not having an LSD, regardless of all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. But in this case, the Elantra does have it. And I have driven a rear-wheel drive on the track. It was my RX-8 way back in the day, and it was a lot of fun and a very different driving experience. Unfortunately, I never got to drive my GTI, which is, you guys know, front-wheel drive on a track. I did, however, do autocross with it, and at that time, they did not come with LSDs, so it did suck. You guys are correct in that a front-wheel drive car in that particular case is pretty crap. So, you know, I agree with you there. Now, had it had a LSD in there, or like a proper LSD, mechanical LSD to help, it would have been amazing. Now, my WRX, I've driven both my VA WRX on the track and my VB WRX on the track. There are times where, of course, again, not a professional driver, that there were some issues that I had rotating the car where I feel like if I did have at least even like a rear LSD, it would have made a substantial amount of difference going around these corners, especially at my skill level, letting the car kind of do more of the work that I can't until I am able to. But clearly I'm able enough to get the car to rotate even with the open disc, because I was like doing some pretty good times the second time around when I took my VB. When I took my VA to the track here, I was actually really slow compared to everybody else, like at least like 10-15 seconds behind, which is, that hurt my ego a little bit, but I got better. Now, there's still a lot that we can discuss about this stuff, and if you go back and watch some of my videos, I actually talk about this stuff when I go out doing rallycross, and then even further back when I go out to do my track day about some of my experiences with how the car performs and how the car feels. I would love to hear from people who have taken their Elantra Ns, or even any other front-wheel drive car. Let's say you have a Civic Type R, you know, kind of a different car, a little bit more power. I'd love to hear your guys' experience down in the comments below. How does it actually feel? And and I know there's a few of you that actually said that you own both a WRX and an Elantra N. How does it feel having that LSD in the front when you're going around corners, or let's say you're doing like, you know, weekend drives on the road and you kind of go back and forth between two cars? Very envious of those who have the ability to do that. It's pretty cool. But just coming in and saying like, hey, Oase, you're an idiot because you don't like this, or, you know, whatever that case is, I'm okay with the debate, and I'm okay with the open dialogue. That's like the best part about this, is talking to my friends about this stuff. But try to keep a little bit of an open mind, even if you don't like the Elantra because it's a Hyundai, or realistically any other car. It doesn't even have to be the Elantra N. Any car that's front-wheel drive or rear-wheel, whatever, just because it's not a WRX, there's no reason for us to just outright hate it or dismiss it. New cars are coming out every day, technology is getting better, and I think it is worth keeping an eye open. And if anything, maybe this competition will get Subaru to kind of get off their asses and make something that is a halo product, because I do believe Subaru truly needs one, because as much as I love the WRX, it's not quite there. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and let's have, obviously, good conversation. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.